The WMBS Weather Watch brought to you by Maloney's on West Main Street, Uniontown, serving delicious, authentic Italian entrees at Maloney since 1950. Flood watch in effect for the listening area Wednesday 5 a.m. through Thursday at 5 a.m., with the overnight low dropping down to 57. Thunderstorms likely and rain throughout the day Wednesday at 65, dropping down to 54 for the high, with rain likely throughout the day Thursday. For the Memorial Day weekend, chance of showers Friday, topping out at 59, drying out Saturday at 67. Clouds on Sunday 67, Memorial Day, Monday, rain 70, and up to 72 next Tuesday. The WMBS Weather Watch brought to you by Maloney's. They're on West Main Street, Uniontown. Ask them about their popular banquet facility and banquet menu for your next special event at Maloney's. They're at 724-437-2061 for Maloney's of Uniontown. And this is your local station, 590 and 101.1 WMBS. 2025 primary election returns on WMBS are brought to you by Jenny Montgomery Scott, the Pennsylvania League of Women Voters, and West Media Group. They get results.
Welcome to primary election coverage here inside our Davis & Davis Attorneys at Law studios. Brian Morozak along with Russ Rhodes, George Rattay, and Nick Barczyk. And we're here probably at least until midnight tonight with updates now and then, talking about primary election results that are starting to trickle in. And Russ and George are actually starting to get some of the mail-in ballots that were actually cast over the last couple of weeks, and some of those results are starting to show up.
Yeah. There's what I think, George, it was roughly 4,500 mail-in ballots that were cast, if I remember reading correctly.
Yes.
And so, yeah, we've got numbers that kind of reflect that.
And those numbers started at 7 o'clock in the morning.
Actually, we're up over 6,000 mail-in ballots.
Because there were, beginning of Friday, there was 9,000 people requested a mail-in ballot. That's between both parties, the D's and R's. And Russ, what did they say, around 6,000 already counted?
6,000 plus.
What you're announcing.
Right. So, and just early results, and this is the mail-in ballots here in Fayette County.
And Russ, we'll just look at the competitive races. Okay. We're not going to talk about the races that are unopposed as well.
Recorder of Deeds, John Marietta, the incumbent, he's up 1,310 to 1,013 for Christina Becker at this point in time. And the only other one would be jury commissioner.
If that's on the Democratic side right now.
Where incumbent Trinette Schmidt-Cunningham is at 2,689 and Corianne Fluker at 1,965.
And we do have some of these school board races as well, and actually a number of competitive school board races, and we'll start on the Democratic side in Albert Gallatin. And in Albert Gallatin, we have 5 candidates going for 4 spots. And right now, all of the race here extremely close. The top vote getter right now, Paul Dunham, with 478 on the Democratic side, followed by Ryan Perupsky with 451. Doug Schultes has 434, Eric Miller 432, and Ryan Robinson 420. On the Republican side, the leader as far as the vote getter there is Ryan Robinson at 185, and again, razor thin. You have Perupsky at 176, Miller at 174, Dunham at 163, and Schultes at 147. And as we continue to go through some of these school board numbers, what's interesting is you could actually have a race that's totally decided here in the spring, or a race that will continue to be contested in the fall. If you have one candidate that ends up winning on both sides and goes through, they're obviously going to be on the ballot. And if you have the same 4, let's say there's 4 going for 5 spots, if the same 4, the top 4 in the spring, then those will be the only 4 on the ballot. But if you have one set of 4 for the Republican side and a different set of 4 for the Democratic side, then obviously you'll have a contested race in the fall.
Brian, you bring up an excellent point, but of course people cross-file. When you look down, you will really know who is a registered Democrat or a Republican.
No, you don't know on the ballot, because you're going to have all of these school board candidates cross-filed in these races as well.
And then come the general, you get to add the votes together.
Yes, the vote totals are added together in the fall race as well. So it'll be interesting to see all that pans out. And in Brownsville, another competitive race. There, again, you have 4 spots available, and you have 7 candidates.
7 candidates.
In Brownsville. And right now on the Democratic side, the top vote getter, Ron Delarose Jr., 457 votes. Second place there, Richard Gates, with 382. On the Republican side, again, 4 spots, same candidates. Top vote getter again there is Ron Delarose, 167. Richard Gates, 138, followed by Ross Gammon with 128 and Jamie Bogle with 124. Down to Connellsville, their school director's race. Again, 4 spots up for grabs, and you have 5 candidates on the ballot. And you have the top 4 on the Democratic side as Marte, Panzella, Kochenauer, and Renzi with a pretty sizable lead over James Moore. On the Republican side, and here's what's interesting, in Connellsville, you actually have more candidates on the Republican ballot than you do on the Democratic ballot. You have Sonny Bentley was not cross-filed, and also not cross-filed in that race was David Martre, was not cross-filed.
So they decided to go strictly
Republican,
yeah,
correct.
Just letting everybody know who they are.
Yes, correct. So in that race, you have the 7 candidates, and probably all 7 separated by about 70 votes.
And I don't believe there's a Democrat running in Connellsville School District.
Well, you have 5 candidates on the Democratic
But they
ballot.
they're
Cross-ballot.
actually-
Yeah, I got you. Yeah, there's not any solo Democrats running in that race. And again, a competitive race in Fraser as well. You have 6 candidates there for 4 spots. On the Democratic side, the top vote getters right now are Michael Rendina with 176 and Michael Trenick with 167. On the Republican side, top vote getter, actually there's just a handful of votes in on the Republican side in Fraser, 44 votes for Rendina and 34 for Andrikovic. Laurel Highlands certainly a race that everybody's been watching here locally. Now, there's 6 candidates on the ballot, but from our understanding, Daniel Hoffs moved outside the district, so he wouldn't be able to serve if he would end up winning on this ballot. And right now, in Laurel Highlands on the Democratic side, the top vote getter right now, Tom Landman with 834 votes, followed by Debbie Cunningham with 724, Matt George 709, and Miranda Novak with 592. Rich Barron has 550. On the Republican side, top vote getter there is Matt George with 376, Tom Landman with 347, followed by Debbie Cunningham with 287, and Miranda Novak with 251. Rich Barron has 238, so only about a 13-vote separation there between Novak and Barron. But right now in Laurel Highlands, the top 4 are the same on both the Democrat and Republican side. And also down in Uniontown, again, their school board race with 4 spots available, and you have 6 candidates on the ballot, all cross-filed. And right now the leading vote getter on the Democratic side, William Rittenhouse, with 588. Stacey Bryant has 572. Mary Sykes with 519. And Daniel Vennick with 495. On the Republican side, top vote getter in the Uniontown School District right now, Chris Gearing with 326, followed by William Rittenhouse with 287, Vennick with 268, Regula with 267. Then you have Bryant with 241 and Sykes with 195. But again, these are basically just the numbers coming in
are
the mail-in ballot numbers, correct?
Yeah, and they started coming in 2 weeks ago. There's been a lot of campaigning that took place since then. So, I don't think these percentages are going to hold.
I agree.
Yeah, I think you're going to see a lot of flip-flopping, changing.
And, of course, you have the South Union Township supervisor race as well, and this is way down on my ballot here. So, with all these township races, many of these uncontested, the way they have this sorted out, you have to scroll through everything here. So I'm waiting to bring up the numbers here in South Union Township and try to go through, and we can only go as fast as the
cursor goes.
Yeah. Correct.
Yeah, I think there's like 600 some pages.
Yeah, there are 600. You're correct.
On the Election
Correct.
Bureau website.
So South Union Township, of course, the contested race for South Union Township supervisor on the Republican side, leading vote getter as far as the mail-in ballots are concerned, Jason Scott with 227, but a relatively close race, Louis Agostini with 204, and Patrick Sirocco, I didn't even know was running until I went to vote today, has 9 votes.
That's on the write-ins.
Oh, the write-ins, or the mail-ins.
Mail-ins, I'm
Mail-ins,
sorry.
correct. So Scott 227, Agostini 204, and Soroka 9, and then South Union Township. And really not a lot of competitive races. If you scroll through this whole list here county-wide, you don't see too many contested races for a lot of these spots. But again, some of the ones that we went through during this first go-around, some of the ones we'll be watching. If you're watching on our Facebook page today and there's a race we're missing that you want us to get to, just let us know and we'll try to pull up the results for you. Nick, you want to take a quick break? We'll be back with more election coverage here in just a moment.
Janney Montgomery Scott works with individuals, families, nonprofits, and businesses across the region, offering comprehensive financial planning, business retirement planning, and investment management. A multi-generational branch with decades of combined experience, our firm provides advice on what matters most to our clients. Call Janney today at 724-438-5563 to schedule a visit to see if we can help you. Janney Montgomery Scott, 43 South Beeson Boulevard in Uniontown. Let us make your goals our goals, too. Janney Montgomery Scott, LLC, member NYSE, FINRA, SAPC. For more info about Janney, please see Janney's relationship summary at janney.com/CRS, which details all material facts about the scope and terms of our relationship with you and any potential conflicts of interest.
Politics is a tough business. Getting your message out to voters takes a good strategy. West Media Group and their strategic expertise and creative capabilities have helped to elect many notable Fayette County office holders, including Judges Steve Leskinen, Nancy Vernon, and Linda Cordero, retired State Senator Rich Kasunik, former State Representative Tim Mahoney, District Attorney Rich Bauer, District Judges Wendy Dennis, Dan Shimshock, and Rich Kasunik, County Commissioner Vince Vasides. West Media Group has also successfully managed several prominent races in neighboring counties. A full-service strategic marketing company and advertising agency, West Media Group can develop a plan for success for your business or organization, just as they have done for so many candidates for office. For websites and e-marketing programs, to complete strategic advertising plans, call West Media Group at 724-532-3300 or visit them at westmediagroup.com. They get results.
Thank you for making your voice heard and for making a difference in this election by casting your vote. The League of Women Voters of PA will continue to be your trusted source of information as we work to ensure every eligible voter can vote and that their vote is counted. We'll provide crucial election information every election cycle. For election information, visit vote411.org and visit pawv.org to learn more about how to support nonpartisan efforts to empower voters and defend democracy.
The WMBS Weather Watch brought to you by Maloney's on West Main Street, Uniontown, serving delicious, authentic Italian entrees in Maloney since 1950. Flood watch in effect for the listening area Wednesday 5 a.m. through Thursday at 5 a.m., with the overnight low dropping down to 57. Thunderstorms likely and rain throughout the day Wednesday at 65, dropping down to 54 for the high, with rain likely throughout the day Thursday. For the Memorial Day weekend, chance of showers Friday, topping out at 59, drying out Saturday at 67. Clouds on Sunday, 67. Memorial Day, Monday, rain 70 and up to 72 next Tuesday. The WMBS Weather Watch brought to you by Maloney's. They're on West Main Street, Uniontown. Ask them about their popular banquet facility and banquet menu for your next special event at Maloney's. They're at 724-437-2061 for Maloney's of Uniontown. And this is your local station, 590 and 101.1 WMBS.
Brian Morozak, George Rotte, Russ Rhodes, and Nick Barnchek back inside our Davis & Davis Attorneys at Law studios. Again, we've gotten in some of the early results that are basically the mail-in voting results. And guys, any early thoughts as far as what we've seen here so far?
My only thought is, again, beginning, there is, and I have the numbers here, so between both parties, there were 70,000 eligible people to participate in the primary, and when we were going over some numbers before we started on the air, I said it'd be 30%. It looks like being the low 20s.
Yeah.
Or even 20%, unless these numbers change once all these polling precincts
Yeah, I know I voted in South Union around 1 o'clock. I think I was voter number 180.
When I voted in South Union, probably after 5, I was 441.
Okay. That probably sounds about right on pace there.
Of course, it'll be interesting to see the turnout for each party.
Yes.
Correct.
As well, too. Not just the overall, but the individual.
If there's any
parties.
indication in the spring of last year when I run, there was more Democrats voted in the primary than Republicans. In the general election, there was more Republicans voted than the Democrats.
And also, as far as the mail-in votes, as it's kind of been over the last 4 or 5 years since mail-in voting's kind of become a thing around here, about a 2-to-1 ratio between Democrats that voted mail-in versus Republicans that have voted mail-in. I mean, you just look at the Recorder of Deeds race on the Democratic side, James Santilli with, or actually 4,633 votes cast on the Democratic side for Recorder of Deeds. On the Republican side, 2,333. And again, those are just all mail-in votes.
As of Friday, the numbers were, like you just said, Brian, there were 7,000. Oh, I'm just going to round it off. A little over 7,000 people requested a mail-in ballot. And the results, as of Friday, there was almost 5,000 at the Bureau of Elections recorded, and it was about 2-1 in favor of Democrats' mail-in ballots.
And again, we'll go over some of these early numbers. Again, these are just all mail-in ballot numbers. Again, starting with the Recorder of Deeds race on the Republican side, John Marietta, 1,310 votes cast for him. Christina Becker, 1,013 votes. So Marietta, 56% of the overall. Becker, 43% of the overall. Again, James Santilli running unopposed on the Democratic side for Recorder of Deeds, and of course Marietta, the incumbent in that race. Jury commissioner race on the Democratic side, Trinette Schmidt-Cunningham, the early lead, 2,689 votes. Corianne Fluker, 1,965. So Schmidt-Cunningham, 57% of the overall. Corianne Fluker, 42% of the overall in that Democratic jury commissioner race. Frank Matansky unopposed on the Republican side for jury commissioner.
And whoever wins on the Democratic side, and it looks like the incumbent Trinette Cunningham, they won't be on the fall ballot.
Correct. Yeah, that's not a competitive race.
Right.
Yeah, this is weird how the primary essentially picks the winner in this case, but they don't take office until January.
Correct. So you'll still have to go throughout the course of the year before that ends up becoming a reality coming up in January. And again, we've been watching as well some of these South Union races, and another competitive race in South Union Township that we did not mention earlier is the Township Auditor race, a 6-year term between Paul Richardson and Kim Arden Renzi, two Republicans running against one another. And I think I'm getting an update here because it just scrolled right off my screen here on the Fayette County Board of Elections site. And again, bear with us here. We're kind of at the mercy of the Election Bureau as some of these numbers come in.
I don't have an update.
Yeah, for some reason it just started refreshing everything on my end, Russ, so I'm not sure what caused that, but just hang on a second here while I scroll back to the South Union race. Again, about 618 total contested race, or total races countywide, most of them actually uncontested. So when all of these are in alphabetical order and you got to scroll down to South Union Township, it takes a while, even with our fiber that we have here at the station, for everything to kind of roll back in. I am back into South Union Township here, looking at that auditor race where Paul Richardson has the early lead with 440 votes cast in his direction. Kim Arden Renzi, 314 votes. So Richardson, 58% of the overall. Renzi, 41% of the overall in that auditor's race. And we were talking earlier, at least as far as the mail-in results, the South Union Township Supervisor race pretty close between Jason Scott and Louis Agostini. Scott 460 votes, Agostini 371. Scott 52% of the overall, Agostini 42% of the overall. There's a third candidate in there, Pat Soroka, who has only 23 votes. And again, like I mentioned to you guys off the air, I didn't even realize Soroka was running.
I didn't either.
Yeah, I didn't. I mean, no.
So that's something to watch. And actually, the one school board race we did not mention earlier, if we did, it was just briefly the Albert Gallatin school board race. And I can scroll back to that here in just a moment as well. And a couple of folks asking about that. If you guys want to fill some time here, feel free.
Yeah, especially on the school board. I'm sorry, Nick.
No, I have the statewide races here for you.
Yeah, go. Why don't you do that, Nick?
Why not?
Yeah.
All right, statewide races. Judge of the Superior Court, only one Democrat on the ballot, Brandon Newman, running unopposed. On the Republican side, Maria Batista right now with 67.8% of the vote, 2,781 votes, and right now beating Anne Marie Wheatcraft, 31.86% of the vote, 1,307. As we move down here, Judge of the Commonwealth Court, Republican side, Matt Wolford holding off Josh Prince, 71% to 27%, 2,886 to 1,120 there. And so that's the results there that we have.
You guys have any info on the Pittsburgh mayoral race as well?
I do, and I did want to touch on that. I'm gonna look. We're gonna look ahead a year.
Okay.
In a year from now, Josh Shapiro is going to be running for re-election. We just came off of the national election where Pennsylvania obviously went for Donald Trump. So I think there's two races in Pennsylvania that we kind of keeping our eyes on. One is the Pittsburgh mayor race, where the incumbent is kind of looked upon as a progressive. And the other one is the Philadelphia DA race, where again the incumbent is pictured as a progressive, soft on crime. So how is Pennsylvania going to react in this election to basically the lost Democrat talking points moving forward into the governor's race next year? So having said that, in the Pittsburgh mayor's race, the incumbent Ed Gainey, he's down 43, almost 44% to 56% to the challenger Corey O'Connor.
How many vote? What's the percentage of votes?
20,410 for Corey O'Connor and 16,007 for the incumbent Ed Gainey. And that's with 62% of the precincts reported at this point in time. So that's a really low turnout in Pittsburgh. Out in Philadelphia, the incumbent district attorney Larry Krasner, he's 27,741 votes to Pat Dugan, who is currently a magistrate at 23,402. So 61% to 39%. So kind of split.
It's very interesting.
A split results there, really.
Well, James Carvell said once there's Philadelphia, Democrat, Allegheny County, Democrat, and the rest is Alabama.
Yeah.
I'll go over
Raging Cajun.
We had a couple of folks asking about these school board races again, so I'll go through this. And again, these are just basically the mail-in numbers that we have so far. Don't have any precincts that have been reported countywide here yet in Fayette. On the Albert Gallatin side, on the Democratic side in Albert Gallatin, top vote getter Paul Dunham, 645. Ryan Perupsky, 623. Eric Miller, 590. Ryan Robinson, 588. And you have Doug Schultes, 593. On the Republican side in Albert Gallatin, I'm just going to read these numbers in order. Perupsky, 464. Miller, 400. Robinson, 480. Dunham, 390. And Schultes, 351. So in both of those races, you have Schultes. Now check that on the Republican side. You have Schultes as the low vote getter. On the Republican side, you have Robinson as the low vote getter. But again, a very tight race there in Albert Gallatin.
And Ryan Persky's current president of Albert Gallatin School Board.
Yes,
no,
he is.
He is not.
Oh, he's not. Okay.
No, he relinquished that this time around. So.
I wasn't aware of that. My apologies. I thought Ryan was still the president of the Albert Gallatin School Board.
No, he relinquished that role after his last reorganization 2 years ago.
And again, in Laurel Highlands, 6 candidates on the ballot, but technically only 5 running. Daniel Hoff's on the ballot, but he has moved out of the district, so he is not going to be taking any spots if he would win or move on. The top vote getters on both the Democrat and Republican side are the same right now. Tom Landman, Miranda Novak, Matt George, and Debbie Cunningham. Now, on the Democratic side, the difference between Novak and Richard Barron, who is the next closest candidate. Novak in 4th place at 934, Barron in 5th place at 782, and again, that's basically 5 candidates for 4 spots. And again, you have the same 4 as the top vote getters on the Republican side, but the vote total much closer between Novak and Barron. Novak with 690 on the Republican side, and Barron with 539 on the Republican side. So Landman, Cunningham, and George appear to be certainly safe here early on. But again, you don't have any of the precincts coming in. Those are just the mail-in numbers. Matt George, by the way, the top vote getter on the Republican side. Tom Landman is the top vote getter on the Democratic side. And Landman is the only incumbent that's on the ballot in this race.
Well, Brian, the other thing, too, that people don't realize, these are so important races, their budget's higher than the county budgets.
Yeah.
The school districts, correct.
Right. Yeah.
And you think in the fall, of course, with the obvious governor's budget, who wants to put more money into public education. And, of course, we're going to see how everything pans out here in the all six. I think we have 6 school districts in Fayette County. I think we have a little bit of Southmoreland, but
Yeah.
And George, as the head of the Democratic Party, they given you any kind of indication as far as when they expect to see some precinct numbers coming in here tonight?
well, I'm looking at the same numbers you are.
Oh, I know. I didn't know if you guys had any kind of meetings or anything during the week where they said, "Hey, George."
Secret closed-door meetings.
Yeah. No, just, I'm sure you guys get together down
Spectrum
there.
with scotch.
No, I'm sure they get together down at the Election Bureau
Well,
and say, hey, we
down
expect
at the
to probably
Moose
start
Lodge.
having some of this stuff done by 10 o'clock.
Well, we was hoping it would all be done at 10 o'clock. I'm hoping once we get the first results other than the mail-ins, I'm hoping when we get to...
Do you think we're going to go from 0 to 100?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm going to say
Nice.
0. I really do.
You don't think it's going to be like
like
it
your-
past years
No.
where we go
If we're
from-
here to midnight, we're in trouble again.
Just like
Okay.
your Corvette.
No.
0 to 100, yeah.
Yeah, I really do, because like I said, they start telling the mail-in ballots at 7 o'clock this morning,
That's
so
right.
they should all be done.
And it looks like they are all done.
Yeah,
as far as
other
we
than
have it
reporting them on
on the site.
Yeah.
So
We're
again,
waiting, playing the waiting game.
Yeah, playing the waiting game right now as we bring you primary election coverage here on WMBS. Let's take another quick timeout, and we'll give you a little recap again on some of the numbers here before CBS News at the top of the hour. Maybe coming out of CBS News, hopefully we'll start to have some hard numbers for you as you're listening to primary election coverage 2025 here on WMBS.
Janney Montgomery Scott works with individuals, families, nonprofits, and businesses across the region, offering comprehensive financial planning, business retirement planning, and investment management. A multi-generational branch with decades of combined experience, our firm provides advice on what matters most to our clients. Call Janney today at 724-438-5563 to schedule a visit to see if we can help you. Janney Montgomery Scott, 43 South Beeson Boulevard in Uniontown. Let us make your goals our goals, too. Janney Montgomery Scott, LLC, member NYSE, FINRA, SIPC. For more info about Janney, please see Janney's relationship summary at janney.com/CRS, which details all material facts about the scope and terms of our relationship with you and any potential conflicts of interest.
Politics is a tough business. Getting your message out to voters takes a good strategy. West Media Group and their strategic expertise and creative capabilities have helped to elect many notable Fayette County office holders, including Judges Steve Leskinen, Nancy Vernon, and Linda Cordero, retired State Senator Rich Kasunik, former State Representative Tim Mahoney, District Attorney Rich Bauer, District Judges Wendy Dennis, Dan Shimshock, and Rich Kasunik, County Commissioner Vince Vasides. West Media Group has also successfully managed several prominent races in neighboring counties. A full-service strategic marketing company and advertising agency, West Media Group can develop a plan for success for your business or organization, just as they have done for so many candidates for office. For websites and e-marketing programs, to complete strategic advertising plans, call West Media Group at 724-532-3300 or visit them at westmediagroup.com. They get results.
Thank you for making your voice heard and for making a difference in this election by casting your vote. The League of Women Voters of PA will continue to be your trusted source of information as we work to ensure every eligible voter can vote and that their vote is counted. We'll provide crucial election information every election cycle. For election information, visit vote411.org and visit pawv.org to learn more about how to support nonpartisan efforts to empower voters and defend democracy.
The WMBS Weather Watch brought to you by Maloney's on West Main Street, Uniontown, serving delicious, authentic Italian entrees and Maloney since 1950. Flood watch in effect for the listening area Wednesday 5 a.m. through Thursday at 5 a.m., with the overnight low dropping down to 57. Thunderstorms likely and rain throughout the day Wednesday at 65, dropping down to 54 for the high, with rain likely throughout the day Thursday. For the Memorial Day weekend, chance of showers Friday, topping out at 59, drying out Saturday at 67. Clouds on Sunday 67, Memorial Day, Monday, rain 70, and up to 72 next Tuesday. The WMBS Weather Watch brought to you by Maloney's. They're on West Main Street, Uniontown. Ask them about their popular banquet facility and banquet menu for your next special event at Maloney's. They're at 724-437-2061 for Maloney's of Uniontown. And this is your local station, 590 and 101.1 WMBS.
Brian Rozak, Russ Rhodes, George Rattay, and Nick Barczyk with you inside our Davis & Davis Attorneys at Law Studios. Primary election results for 2025. You've been with us for the last half hour to 45 minutes or so. We've been passing along some of the mail-in numbers that we had available, but again, we don't have any precinct numbers as of yet. And I know, George, you were just on the phone trying to get some additional information down at the Election Bureau.
What I was told, there was 5 precincts they haven't reported.
Okay.
So once I say those 5
so
come
they're
in,
going to dump them all at once, is what you're saying?
that's what I'm speculating.
Why would they not just put what's on there that's come in? I mean, I'm just asking.
No, I can't answer that. I wish I
Okay.
could.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking once they get those 5 in, they'll probably, like you
Just
said,
dump them all.
Dump them all.
So what happens if there ends up being a large delay in one precinct? We're going to be sitting here waiting until midnight
Right,
again?
yeah.
For
I hope
everything?
not. Well,
Yeah. I mean, it's just always been common sense in the past when we've done these shows and when we've done election night that they report the precincts as they come in. So my question is, why is that not being done again tonight? It seems like every year when we do this, there seems to be issues with the Election Bureau as far as getting these numbers in, and they don't seem to be corrected on a year-to-year basis.
Yeah, I don't see how why it's so difficult that they can't, like, batches of 25.
Yeah, and just put them
25
in.
precincts, come
Yeah.
in, drop it. Get
Yeah.
another 25 in, add in.
And it seems like they've changed election directors, but we're not getting any kind of different results. We've tried to make calls to figure out. In the past, we had all those issues a couple of years ago, and again, it seems like
actually, the previous one we were getting the results.
the last general we were pretty good.
Yep.
well, we're going to find out. What time is it now?
9:53, George.
Yeah, we come up here on the top of the hour.
2 hours after the polls close.
And we had a couple people asking about the Uniontown City Council races. No competitive races there. That's why we weren't mentioning them. We do have the vote totals. And again, these are just the mail-in vote totals for City Council on the Republican side. Both Gary Altman and Jared Billy unopposed there. Gary Altman, 226 votes. Jared Billy, 188, 9 write-in votes.
That's on the
Republican side, correct.
Right, and there should be 2 on the Democrat side.
On the Democratic side for Uniontown City Council, yes.
Reverend Winfrey, and I can't remember the other one off.
Yeah, those are not in the same area. They separate those. So on the Democratic side for City Council, again, 2 spots. John Schoner with 371, Vincent Winfrey Sr., 484. And you have 10 write-in votes there. But again, both of those will advance to the ballot in the fall.
So, do have some statewide numbers for you on the judge races to share. Judge of Superior Court. On the Republican side is the only ones that are competitive on this. Maria Batista statewide, 181,986 votes, or 54.4%. And Anne Marie Wheatcraft at 152,757 votes for 46.5% of the vote. For Judge of Commonwealth Court, Matt Wolford with 61.6% of the votes, or 204,713 votes. Josh Prince with 127,513 votes, or 38.4% of the vote is in.
So when you look at, Russ, if you just said on the Republican side, there was 152,000 on the Democratic side for the same for the same what is a judge of Superior Court.
Yeah.
There's what 500,000 Democrats voted in.
Compared to 330,000
Right.
Republicans.
So again, you're watching and listening to primary election coverage 2025 here on WMBS, also on the WMBS Facebook page. Brian Morozak, along with George Rattay, Russ Rhodes, and Nick Barczyk. Now, the numbers we do have, again, so far are just the mail-in numbers. And from what George was telling us, we're expecting a pretty large dump here, hopefully in the next 15 to 20 minutes of the rest of the precinct numbers from around Fayette County, and hopefully we'll be able to give you some pretty close to final results here very soon.
I'm gonna make a statement, which we discussed. I will find out by my show Friday why we can't get these results quicker.
I appreciate that.
Thank you, George.
Yeah, I mean, it's just all about the
really,
process
truly,
of trying to do this.
there's
And
gotta
you end
be
up
a
looking
reason
at
why.
things statewide, and they seem to operate a lot differently than we operate here in Fayette County as far as being able to get faster election numbers in. And that's the only thing I'm asking about.
And I've looked, and I can't remember right now, but there's a number of surrounding counties
Well, I was
that
just gonna
use
say-
the same software, the same website.
And they're reporting faster than we are.
Yes.
Correct.
Yes.
You could go to say.
And I know it kind of, people are probably listening to this and say, here it is, Brian complaining once again. It's
a
election
tradition
night.
unlike any
It's
other.
a tradition unlike any other.
So almost we don't want it to work more efficiently because we want.
No, all we're trying to do is just look
No,
out
I
for
understand.
the. Yeah, I'm
Of
not
course.
trying to pick on anybody.
No,
or
we
look
want to get the results out to the
we
residents.
just want to try to get the
understand the
results in a
process.
time. Yeah, and understand the process of as far as how is
Absolutely.
this is being done and
Yeah,
being
and
able to
then-
accurately report the results. And we had that whole mess a year and a half ago when they posted 100% precincts in and then results changed. And that kind of stuff should
How does
not
that
happen.
happen?
Yeah, how does that happen? So we just want to make sure that obviously the numbers that we're passing along to you are the correct numbers. And if they come in, instead of holding them for whatever reason, release those numbers and let us report them. Then we get another update. That kind of adds to it a little bit too.
Here's the thing: we get
you
in
end up
early.
getting 40% in. Oh, this is getting closer
Yeah,
here.
it's
You get 60%,
exciting, yeah.
and it kind of builds a little bit too
Drips
with
and
everybody.
drabs,
But it
yeah.
allows folks to follow it a little bit.
Yeah,
better.
and I'm
Absolutely.
just,
You're
I'm
looking out for the
Washington
listeners.
County right now on a county-wide race for controller, and they've got 62% of the vote counted.
Okay.
Yeah.
And again, we don't have any precincts in yet. We're coming up on 10 o'clock. Again, the only numbers we have so far are the mail-in numbers. And again, a couple of the higher profile races here in the county. Again, the Recorder of Deeds race, Republican on the Republican side, John Marietta, the incumbent, 2,503 votes. Christina Becker, 2,209. So Marietta close to 53% of the overall. Becker with 47% of the overall. We also mentioned the South Union Township races as well. 3 candidates on the South Union Township supervisors race. And again, if you're just joining us, there's 618 different races, many of them uncontested. And of course, we don't have a way to just pull up the important ones here on the site. So we kind of have to scroll through everything and get to those results. So sometimes if we kind of stall like I'm doing right now, that's why.
It happens.
So,
We understand.
yes. So Jason, I do have these
Make it
numbers.
sound
though.
naturally.
Yes, we got about a minute here before the top of the hour. Jason Scott, 460 votes. Louis Agostini, 371. Patrick Soroka, 23. Scott, 53% of the overall. Agostini, 43% of the overall. And Soroka coming in at about 2.6. And also Township Auditors race, Paul Richardson, 440 votes. Kim Renzi with 314. Richardson with 58% of the overall. Guys, we have about 30 seconds left here till CBS
So if they
News.
dump all these at 10:15, I can leave at 10:30.
About 11 o'clock. We'll hold you to
Stay another hour, George. Don't
Don't
deprive us of
If
your company.
we get everything at straight up 10 o'clock, we'll probably end it at 11.
Don't
but-
deprive us
And
of
I
you,
know
George.
I was here one time 3:15 in the morning.
Well, I think the election results, I think Nick and I were here till 5 or 6 on that one.
Presidential election year.
Yes, correct. So coming up here, Nick, on the top of the hour, I'll let you
All
take
right.
everybody into CBS News.
Oh, thank you, Brian. I'm honored. 56 right now outside of our Davis & Davis studios. Do have some rain on the way this evening. Flood watch for the listening area from 5 a.m. Wednesday to 5 a.m. Thursday. This is your local station, 590 and 101.1 WMBS Uniontown. CBS News at 10.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by O'Reilly Auto Parts.
I'm Matt Piper. Millions are under severe weather threats tonight with the risk of tornadoes, including places that just saw some over the weekend. CBS News meteorologist David Parkinson with who needs to be on the lookout.
Anywhere from Memphis all the way to Nashville. We've already had reports of several tornadoes, and 2 of them were confirmed by weather spotters. So we know that we've had tornadoes on the ground, and we expect that threat through at least 8 p.m. Central tonight. And we could see in eastern Tennessee a threat as late as 9, 10, or 11 p.m.
At least 29 people died from storms this past weekend. In New Orleans, police have arrested a jail maintenance worker in connection with the escape of 10 inmates. A 5th has just been caught tonight. CBS's Katie Weiss.
Authorities say that 33-year-old Sterling Williams helped the inmates make their daring escape by turning off the water supply to the facility so that way the inmates could more easily remove the toilet from the wall without getting drenched in water while they were doing so. Williams is actually charged with principal to simple escape and also malfeasance in office.
CBS News has learned the Navy is disciplining at least 2 members of SEAL Team 4 after racist memes, including one depicting slavery, were shared in a signal chat to a black fellow SEAL. President Trump was on Capitol Hill today. As our Nicole Killian reports, he's trying to push GOP holdouts in a last-ditch effort to support his massive domestic policy bill.
potentially the Speaker and GOP leadership could put this bill on the floor at some point tomorrow, Wednesday, which would be even ahead of the Speaker's projected goal. You know, we'd heard a vote was possible on Thursday. Certainly, the goal has always been to do this by Memorial Day.
A large Canadian study links ultra-processed foods to serious health risks.
Health experts have been warning people about the dangers of highly processed foods, including frozen pizza, sugar-laden breakfast cereals, and chips. But now a study of more than 6,000 Canadians finds a clear connection between such foods and higher blood pressure, larger waistlines, and unhealthy cholesterol levels. It found that those who consume ultra-processed foods were more likely to be male, have lower income levels, less education, and to have reported lower fruit and vegetable intake. Such foods are heavily marketed and appeal to consumers who are pressed for time. Allison Keyes, CBS News.
The Justice Department has opened an investigation into former New York Governor Andrew Cuomo. It's over his testimony to Congress during the pandemic. It comes months after the DOJ dropped charges against current New York City Mayor Eric Adams, who was running against Cuomo in this year's mayoral election. Cuomo calls it election interference. This is CBS News.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get the parts and service you need fast from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-230-2777. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-230-2777. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-230-2777. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-230-2777 or biglou.com.
A chess match between Grandmaster Magnus Carlsen and the world comes out in a draw.
The match on chess.com began on April 4th. 143,000 people around the globe voted on each move for Team World. They and Carlsen each had 24 hours to make their moves. The website had predicted Carlsen would win easily, but Team World forced the draw on move 32 after checking Carlsen's king 3 times in a corner of the board where it could not escape. The 34-year-old Carlsen has been the world's top-ranked chess player for more than a decade. Michael Wallace, CBS News.
Today was the 8th annual World Bee Day. Bees and other pollinators have been on the decline for years. Experts blame a combination of factors, including insecticides, parasites, disease, climate change, and lack of a diverse food supply. A part of the human diet comes from plants pollinated by bees, and not just honeybees, but hundreds of species of lesser-known wild ones that many of are endangered. Matt Piper, CBS News.
The WMBS Weather Watch brought to you by Autoland Hyundai, your hometown Hyundai dealer, East Fayette Street, Uniontown, America's best warranty at Autoland, 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain protection at Autoland. Flood watch from 5 a.m. Wednesday to 5 a.m. Thursday. With rain overnight, the low at 57. Thunderstorms and rain expected all day Wednesday up to 67. Only at 54 with showers lingering Thursday. For the Memorial Day weekend, Friday, chance of showers 58. Drying out for the weekend, only warming up to 62, though with sun Saturday. Clouds on Sunday at 64, up to 70 with rain likely Memorial Day Monday, next Tuesday at 58. The WMBS Weather Watch at this hour brought to you by Autoland. They're on East Fayette Street, America's #1 warranty at Autoland. They feature a 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain protection at Autoland of Uniontown. And this is your local station, 590 and 101.1 WMBS. Check us out online, WMBS590.com, and our Facebook and YouTube page, WMBS. 2025 primary election returns on WMBS are brought to you by Jenny Montgomery Scott, the Pennsylvania League of Women Voters, and West Media Group. They get results.
Brian Morozak, George Rotte, Russ Rhodes, and Nick Barczyk with you inside our Davis & Davis Attorneys at Law Studios. Primary election results, and we're kind of still sitting in the same position we were sitting in right before the news break. The only results that we have in right now are the results that have been the mail-in election results so far, and we'll do a little recap of those for you. And actually, a lot of the listeners have been chiming in, kind of agreeing with us. One listener telling us the election system has to change. It's ridiculous that results can't be rolling in. It's like they hold on to some big secret that makes them look shady.
I had a caller for South Union. Will you pull up South Union for me, Brian?
I am trying to scroll down to those, George, and I'll get you all the info. What are you exactly looking for?
For the township supervisors races.
Okay, and we'll recap those once again as well.
It's a race to see who gets there first.
Oh, I know, and again, the way the system is set up, there are 618 races countywide. Most of these are not competitive races, but in order for us to get to the races that we want to get to, we have to scroll through 618 different races.
A little excessive.
They're all alphabetical in order as well, so it kind of makes it tough when you need to pull up the different results. Now, South Union Township on the Republican side, again, a contested race. We'll recap this for you. Between Jason Scott, Louis Agostini, and Patrick Soroka. Jason Scott, the leading vote getter with 460 votes. Louis Agostini, 371. Pat Soroka, 23. Also a contested race for South Union Township Auditor, Paul Richardson, 440 votes. Kim Renzi, 314 votes. The other races in South Union Township are uncontested. I know, George, you're asking about some vote totals. On the Democratic side, Patrick Mahoney with 740 votes. There are 237 write-in votes as far as the mail-in votes go in that South Union Township Supervisor race as well. So 977 votes cast in South Union Township on the Democratic side for Township Supervisor.
And all we're reporting now is the mail-in.
Yeah, these are just mail-in votes. Don't have any other form of precinct votes that have came in so far. And again, when you go to the county sites, go ahead.
I discovered a shortcut, Brian.
Go ahead.
You ready? Okay, go back to the top of the page.
All right.
All right. You'll see under where the courthouse is.
Yep.
The dark blue, it says local offices, school districts, county, statewide.
Yes.
Okay, click on local offices, and
Okay.
you'll come up.
I do see that. That is there we go.
Then we can click on the individual area.
So you go county, you go
that.
statewide.
Yeah.
I like that.
Thanks, Russ.
Thank
Good
you,
job.
Russ.
I didn't want to tell you that.
That's why you're here.
Did you know that?
Yeah.
Withholding information.
Serious. I figure you two got the computers. I'm the dummy.
You're always the top as far as tech savvy. You come in here and you show us new techniques every week.
New apps.
You're our tech guy. You come in and fix our internet problems and everything.
I don't want to throw you under the bus actually telling you what you actually ask me every week.
Go ahead. I don't know. I have so many things. No, but
can you print this for me?
Yeah,
Can you fax me this letter?
See, I'm one of these old school.
Old school, pen and paper. Nothing wrong with that. Absolutely,
no,
same.
When I don't want to pick on the Bureau of Elections. I always said they're overworked and underpaid. But when you get a caller and people call in and want to know the results, and we're sitting here and it's Nick. What time is it?
10:10.
10:10. The election was over at 8:00. You don't have
at least give us a couple precincts. That's all we're asking for. Something new to talk about.
Yeah, and if there's 4 not in, well, give us the other. And we have 77 precincts here in the county. So
correct. And I understand that the county as well the election bureau might be understaffed, but they basically told you, George, they have most of the precincts in. So why can they not?
I have
just
no
put
idea.
those.
And I will have that.
Yeah, again, you'll have the answer on Friday at 3:15, and let everybody know why it's not the case. And I also would like you to ask,
please,
if we don't have the results, why can't we? I mean, what's the holdup as far as, because they're going to have an explanation for you, I'm sure, at least I would hope so. So my rebuttal, no matter what they tell you, is why can't it be the other way?
So when I know the answer, I'm not going to divulge it till 3:15.
That's fine. You can do that.
That's quite a tease, George.
Talk about a little tease.
Talk about waiting to exhale.
A little tease.
Wow, 3 days we have to wait.
And again, I know we have a lot of folks that are tuning in, tuning out, just
which is good.
Updated numbers, correct?
Right, tune in, tune out.
Yep, and
drop out.
Yeah, and listen to all that info as well. So again, just for some of the folks that are just hopping on right now, again, the numbers we have are just the mail-in results for the Recorder of Deeds race. And on the Republican side, John Marietta, 4,611 votes. Christina Becker, 3,820 votes. Marietta, 54% of the overall. Becker, 45% of the overall. James Santilli, unopposed, on the Democratic
Run
side.
that number again, Brian.
So Marietta 4611, Becker 3820.
That can't be Millens.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's saying 0% precinct.
Yeah, at the top of the screen saying not complete.
I would say because there wasn't that many people requested a Mellon ballot on the Republican side.
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah. Because those numbers don't indicate.
Let me do a refresh and go back to the main county page. Now it's saying now not complete. Several precincts are still out, but it's saying the precincts fully reported are 0 of 77.
But when those numbers,
I understand what you're saying.
Yeah,
I'm just going by. And again, this is what we kind of ran into a year and a half ago with everything.
We were like 500 and some votes for Marietta, 300 some for Becker.
Yeah.
If I recall. So something has
changed.
Yeah, you're right. So when you go to the chart, it says
it's still
0
saying
out
0
of 77.
Yeah.
So,
So
but those numbers.
I agree. I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
They are not jiving because you're seeing precincts fully reported as 0, and precincts there is 0 of 77.
Because you have 8,471 between the two candidates.
And again, this goes back to what we've been discussing in past years. The information that the Election Bureau is providing is not correct, and it creates this whole system again where
I wouldn't say it's not correct. It's not complete.
It's not complete to know.
Confusion.
Well, it's not complete. It's not correct, Russ, because if it should be showing us the amount of precincts that are reported based on the vote total that we have. That's why it's not correct. Because the vote totals are probably correct, but the precincts that are reported are not correct because we have vote totals in and we don't know what they're for. So, again, this is something we've been harping on with the county, trying to get it fixed. They changed election directors, but so far, again, we're kind of dealing with the same stuff we've been dealing with for the last year and a half or so.
Well, but I'll say it's not that they've changed directors. We've had this director now for 4 years.
Wasn't there a new director after the election from 2022? No? Okay.
No.
I thought there was a change there.
So, like on the Democratic side, I'm looking here with Russ, and I don't have my cheaters on. For a county treasurer, we have 7,441. We know that's got to be from other precincts other than the mail-in.
Because how many Democrat mail-ins were requested?
There were 5,328.
There you go.
So there is some results from different precincts.
And again, we don't know how many because, according to the screen we have, it's showing precincts fully reporting 0 of 77.
Yes, I agree there. Now look down to the treasurer's race. You have Tassan. That's
7,055.
Right.
And for all the people that were like kind of, the county kind of gave us a little bit of a hard time over our coverage about a year and a half ago. But if you're one of the county commissioners right now, Vince or Scott, look at your website right now. It's showing right now 0 of 77. And you're seeing numbers coming in from different precincts. So why is this incorrect? And why are we being given information that's not out there right now?
In other words, the numbers are there, but
the numbers are there, but we don't know what they're coming from.
We don't know what percentage.
Correct. So, again, for anybody that's out there, and you can log on to the same info that we're looking at here from the county website, you're not putting out accurate numbers as far as the precincts reporting versus the data that's there. So, again, we can only report the numbers.
Right,
yeah, I know.
I understand.
And I hate
every
to be
6 months.
I hate to be complaining about it
We'll
every
do this
6
again
months.
in November, yeah.
But we're going to go through while they sort everything out, instead of me just sitting here complaining.
We love it.
I'm going to go through just some of the vote totals that are in. So, again, we'll start again at Recorder of Deeds. John Marietta, 4,611 votes. Christina Becker, 3820. Marietta, 54% of the overall. Becker, 45% of the overall. James Santilli, unopposed on the Democratic side. So we'll also look at the jury commissioner race on the Democratic side. Trinette Schmidt-Cunningham, 4,623 votes, 57% of the overall. Corey Ann Fluker, 3,324 votes, 41% of the overall in that race. And we had some of the school director races that we were going over earlier. We'll check to see how those vote totals have changed as well with some of the new numbers coming in, and we'll just go alphabetically here and start in Albert Gallatin. Again, you have 5 candidates going for 4 spots, and Albert Gallatin extremely close on the Democratic side, you have Ryan Perupski with 919, Paul Dunham with 909, Eric Miller and Ryan Robinson both have 896, and Doug Schultes is 861. Now, on the Republican side in Albert Gallatin, the top vote getter right now is Ryan Robinson with 969. In second place, Eric Miller with 845, Paul Dunham. Now, check that. Ryan Robinson, 969. Ryan Perupski, 922. Eric Miller, 845. Paul Dunham, 741. And Doug Schultes, 689.
Right.
Go ahead. And they have your mic off right now, George, but they'll turn it on for you. Go ahead.
I'm looking at those numbers. I'm willing, but that's 100% of the people who voted in Albert Gallatin School District.
Could be.
Yeah, with those numbers, 4,000. But again, like you said, when you look overall, it has 0 out of 77 precincts. I would say that's all the precincts in that school district are reported.
Or close anyway.
In Albert Gallatin.
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to go down
Especially
now
with those 4,000.
Okay, I'm going to go down out of Brownsville. Again, you have 4 spots available. On the Democratic side, the top vote getter right now, Ron Delarose Jr., 615. In second place, Richard Gates with 502, followed by Jamie Lynn Bogle with 428, and Ross Gammon with 426. Behind Gammon is Robert Mealy with 387. McCoy has 309, and Tommy Little with 235. Now, on the Republican side in Brownsville, top vote getter there, Ron Delarose Jr. again with 270. You have Richard Gates. No, check that. Second place is Jamie Bogle with 223. Richard Gates 204. And Ross Gammon 202. Little, Mealy, and McCoy are all under 161 votes. Up in Connellsville, again, you have 5 candidates for 4 spots on the Democratic side, but on the Republican side, 7 candidates. The top 4 on the Democratic side are Martre, Panzella, Kochenauer, and Renzi with a large lead over James Moore. Top 4 on the Republican side are Dave Panzella with 1227, followed by Bob Renzi with 1164. Actually, Dave Martre has 8 more votes than Renzi. And the next top vote getter is Michael Kochenauer with 1088, but Sonny Bentley only 11 votes behind Kochenauer at 1077. Also in Fraser on the Democratic side, top vote getter Michael Rendino with 449. And now there looks like there might be an update coming through here. Michael Trenick with 432, followed by Andrew Kovich with 401. And Thomas Shetterly with 328. Those are the top 4 on the Democratic side in Fraser. Top 4 on the Republican side in Fraser. Andrew Kovich with 341. Rendina 325. Trenick with 244. And Shetterly with 191. Laurel Highlands. Again, you have 6 candidates on the ballot, only 5 eligible. Daniel Hoff no longer living in the district. On the Democratic side, Tom Landman with 1293, Matt George 1203, Debbie Cunningham 1160, Miranda Novak 994, and Richard Barron with 819. So Novak about 170 vote lead over Barron for the final spot. On the Republican side, top vote getter Matt George with 1,011 votes, followed by Tom Landman with 913, Debbie Cunningham with 770, and Miranda Novak 745. So the top 4 the same in Laurel Highlands, both on the Democratic and Republican side. Rich Barron just 570 votes on the Republican side in Laurel Highlands. And the Uniontown school director race, on the Democratic side, William Rittenhouse, the top vote getter with 790. No, check that. Stacey Bryant, the top vote getter at 804. Again, these results are not in order when we're getting them, so we have to kind of sort through them ourselves. William Rittenhouse in second place at 799, followed by Chris Gearing at 699, and Mary Sykes with 690, Don Regula 681, and Daniel Vennick 662. Now on the Republican side, top vote getter Chris Gearing 1131, followed by Stacy Bryan at 742, William Rittenhouse at 733, and Don Regula in fourth place on the Republican side at 696. Closest to Regula on the Republican side is Venick with 570. So Regula about 120 vote lead in that race. We also want to get to the township supervisor race in South Union Township. And guys, do you have anything else real quick while I scroll down to that contest? And actually, I can go to my little cheat sheet that George actually told me about to get to it a little bit quicker.
I'm good for something once in a while.
I'm sure you always are.
Yeah.
Well,
You're good for a lot. We just haven't figured out what that is, George.
And I have to agree with you.
Well, I do have South Union Township now. Again, a competitive race on the Republican side for township supervisor is Jason Scott with 460 votes, Louis Agostini with 371, and Pat Sirocco with 23. And again, the Democratic race was unopposed, as you have Pat Mahoney with 740 votes. Write-in votes, though, at 237. Now, George, how many write-in votes would a candidate have to get on the ballot on the Democratic side?
Well, they'd have to be more than Pat Mahoney.
More than Pat Mahoney.
Yeah,
Okay,
right.
Correct,
yes. And I'm going to make an assumption here that those write-in votes are for Jason Scott.
Correct.
Yes,
Most
and
of them anyway.
I would agree.
Yeah. Also had a competitive race for township auditor on the Republican side in South Union Township. Paul Richardson, 440 votes. Kim Renzi, 314. Have you got any other guy? I know you guys have been talking while I've been going through all those updates. Any indication as far as how many precincts that we have reported right now?
No, we have nothing. We're looking at that screen, and every time Russ scrolls it, it still comes up 0 out of 77.
Now, given your knowledge as far as Fayette County politics and how many votes are likely cast in this race, how close to final do you think some of these numbers are?
Well, when you look it down, so I would say some of these are complete. But again, as you indicated, when you go to the website, or close to it.
Because the website's not even saying that.
It's not showing any. It's showing 077.
So,
correct, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, you go down and you can. You can't look at the school races to get a number because they're voting for up to 4 people.
Yeah.
So, then you got 5,000 total votes, but you're voting for 4 of them.
Yeah. And we actually had somebody comment who's worked in the county offices before on our Facebook page say that Commissioner Vacides is aware of the problems, and he has commented he's watching on the live stream.
Well, here, look up one, and we'll tell you right now. Go to Newell.
Newell?
Because they're in Newell, and I'll tell you how many people could vote, and we can look this up.
Where are we here?
Okay.
I'm in Newell.
Newell Borough?
Yeah, there's 300. There's 300. Just under 300 people could vote.
All right. On the Democratic side for Borough Council, we had 118 votes.
All right.
Now, on the Republican side for Borough Council in Newell, we had 9 votes.
And there was also the mayor's race up.
And mayor's race in Newell. Let me pull that up now.
Okay.
Mayor's race in Newell, only 49 votes.
49 votes.
But that's what's interesting, too. So, in the Newell Borough Mayor's race, you had Nikki Tadero, unopposed, showing with 49 votes. Well, I guess you're voting for 3, though, for the Newell Borough Council race. That's why you have the
So you're looking at just
118 votes. So, that makes sense.
You're looking at just the mayor's race where you got 49 Democrats. And,
correct.
Oh, come on here.
The only reason I say that because you add them up, there's 319 people could vote in Newell. Now, if 20% would show up, 20%, are you math majors is what? 60-some people, right?
Yeah. And again, our issue is just the fact that we have numbers. We don't know how many vote totals. We're not trying to be critical of anybody in the office. We just, if you're going to put numbers up, let us know how many precincts are reported. And this is an issue we ran into before, about a year and a half ago, when they showed that there was 100% of the precincts reported and vote totals still came in afterwards.
And then one came in late.
So we just, if you have the numbers
races,
here.
We had said there were certain winners.
Correct.
And
there weren't.
Yeah.
So we know there's vote totals in, and we know there's certain precincts that have reported that are more than just mail-in votes. So if you're going to put those numbers up, you cannot show on your county website that there's 0 of 77 precincts. And that's my main beef right now, is you can't put out vote totals from precincts and then show 0 when those numbers are coming in. And again, we're being patient with everybody coming in, but you can't, running a county, you cannot operate an election bureau website in that fashion when you're reporting numbers.
I agree, Brian.
That's probably.
George's phone's going off.
Okay.
There you go.
Okay.
Now George's phone's going
Too
off.
late. They hung up on you.
Yeah, they've had enough.
I mean, that's all we're asking for is just transparency with all this stuff.
Absolutely.
Just
not
you're putting the
much of an
numbers
ask.
out. Let us know. And that's why people, and I hate to say it, but you get more of this uproar after the fact
You do.
because stuff is not being done properly tonight. If stuff is done in an orderly fashion the way it should be, you're not going to get that uproar after the fact about
It limits
stuff.
it limits the questions.
The questions afterwards.
Absolutely.
And I think all the vote totals are correct. I'm not questioning any of that. It's just from a reporting standpoint, if you're the director of elections for Fayette County and you're running this website, you cannot be putting out numbers and showing that you have 0 of 77 precincts reported. So that's the way it goes.
And I don't know, I don't know the process. I don't know how they collect their numbers and then get them to the person that loads them onto the website.
I agree.
So there's some kind of problem in between there.
But still, whoever is in charge of this website and is updating this data, because somebody has to be doing it, it's not that hard if you know you have 34 in there, that little box right now that's showing the 0 of 77 precincts reported, to put 34, to put 38. And just put that number in there just to be able to tell the folks what number of precincts you have coming in there.
This is a great website.
It is.
It tells you a lot. You can go and see that there's a map of Fayette County.
Correct.
And they have that map broken down to the individual precinct areas, and it gets color-coded as to when that precinct is in. Well, everything is still
It's not showing
yellow.
as in. Yeah, it's a great website if you have people
it's utilized
trained
properly
to know how to use it correctly.
Yes.
And that's what I think that we're looking at right now, is the fact that you might have people working on this website that might not fully know how to function it in a correct fashion, because that's the issue that we're dealing with right now. So, you go back and you look at stuff. People have not been afraid to call us out in the past, Russ, especially from the county.
Sure.
So I'm looking at this right now. You're putting out election data. You are not putting it out correctly if you are in charge of county government right now. So that's what it comes down to. So you guys can beat us up as much as you want over different issues, but we're trying to
expect the same in return.
Yeah, expect the same in return when it comes to this kind of stuff, because this is not the first time this happened. You go back to the the general election in 2023. The same type of situation happened where the county released, and I've saved screenshots of it, Russ.
Yeah.
Where you had 100% of the vote total was shown as in, and vote totals came in after the fact, and that messed up a lot of the totals that we initially reported as final races, and ended up changing results after the fact, when in fact 100% of the vote total was not in. And we have people asking for individual stuff from Spring Hill Township.
And we don't
Again,
have it.
we don't know. If you're just tuning in, the individual races right now, as far as the information the county is giving us, it is showing 0 of 77 precincts in, even though we have numbers on different races. So that's what we're really looking at this point.
And we are 2.5 hours
since the polls closed. Correct.
At this point in time.
And we have had our numbers change from the initial totals of what we had initially when we went on the air just after 9 o'clock, of just the mail-in results to additional vote totals added, but the precinct total from the county is still showing 0 of 77.
So you
as far
mentioned
as the
somebody
precincts
asking
reported.
about Spring Hill Township.
Yes.
The only competitive race that I'm seeing right now, there's a couple. Township supervisor for a 6-year term. Sean Goodwin has 228 votes. Robert Gene Grimm has 139 votes, so 62% to almost 38% on the Republican side. There is nothing competitive on the Democrat side. Also in Spring Hill Township, the only other one, if you want to call it competitive, is for the township auditor. where David Nichols has 191 votes, and there is a write-in of 78 votes.
Yes. So somebody's trying to hard write in there for against David Nichols, aren't they?
Yes.
So again, if you're just joining us, you're listening and watching to primary election coverage here on WMBS. Brian Morozak along with Russ Rhodes, George Rattay, and Nick Barczyk. We have incomplete results.
We have final numbers.
Okay.
Looks like
why don't we take a quick break here, Russ?
Okay.
We'll come back with all the final numbers here on WMBS.
Janney Montgomery Scott works with individuals, families, nonprofits, and businesses across the region, offering comprehensive financial planning, business retirement planning, and investment management. A multi-generational branch with decades of combined experience, our firm provides advice on what matters most to our clients. Call Janney today at 724-438-5563 to schedule a visit to see if we can help you. Janney Montgomery Scott, 43 South Beeson Boulevard in Uniontown. Let us make your goals our goals, too. Janney Montgomery Scott, LLC, member NYSE, FINRA, SIPC. For more info about Janney, please see Janney's relationship summary at janney.com/CRS, which details all material facts about the scope and terms of our relationship with you and any potential conflicts of interest.
Politics is a tough business. Getting your message out to voters takes a good strategy. West Media Group and their strategic expertise and creative capabilities have helped to elect many notable Fayette County office holders, including Judges Steve Leskinen, Nancy Vernon, and Linda Cordero, retired State Senator Rich Kasunik, former State Representative Tim Mahoney, District Attorney Rich Bauer, District Judges Wendy Dennis, Dan Shimshock, and Rich Kasunik, County Commissioner Vince Vasides. West Media Group has also successfully managed several prominent races in neighboring counties. A full-service strategic marketing company and advertising agency, West Media Group can develop a plan for success for your business or organization, just as they have done for so many candidates for office. For websites and e-marketing programs, to complete strategic advertising plans, call West Media Group at 724-532-3300 or visit them at westmediagroup.com. They get results.
Thank you for making your voice heard and for making a difference in this election by casting your vote. The League of Women Voters of PA will continue to be your trusted source of information as we work to ensure every eligible voter can vote and that their vote is counted. We'll provide crucial election information every election cycle. For election information, visit vote411.org and visit pawv.org to learn more about how to support nonpartisan efforts to empower voters and defend democracy.
The WMBS Weather Watch brought to you by Autoland Hyundai, your hometown Hyundai dealer, East Fayette Street, Uniontown, America's best warranty at Autoland, 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain protection at Autoland. Flood watch from 5 a.m. Wednesday to 5 a.m. Thursday. With rain overnight, the low at 57. Thunderstorms and rain expected all day Wednesday up to 67, only at 54 with showers lingering Thursday. For the Memorial Day weekend, Friday, chance of showers 58. Drying out for the weekend, only warming up to 62, though with sun Saturday. Clouds on Sunday at 64, up to 70 with rain likely Memorial Day Monday next Tuesday at 58. The WMBS Weather Watch at this hour brought to you by Autoland. They're on East Fayette Street, America's #1 warranty at Autoland. They feature a 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain protection at Autoland of Uniontown. And this is your local station, 590 and 101.1 WMBS. Check us out online, WMBS590.com, and our Facebook and YouTube page, WMBS.
Brian Morozak, George Rattay, and Russ Rhodes, along with Nick Barczyk, back inside our Davis & Davis Attorneys at Law Studios. And we do have updated numbers, and this is what the Fayette Election Bureau had to say. These are unofficial results. This is the last report of the evening. This includes mail-ins, absentee, and Election Day ballots. It does not include provisional ballots, and the results may change until final certifications. These will be the final numbers that we will get tonight. We'll start with the Recorder of Deeds race on the Republican side. It ended up being a pretty competitive race tonight, but the incumbent John Marietta ends up on top. Marietta, 4,820 votes, 53% of the overall. Christina Becker, 4,074 votes, 45% of the overall. So Marietta will face James Santilli in the fall for Recorder of Deeds. Santilli unopposed with 7,947 votes tonight. Jury commissioner race on the Democratic side goes to Trinette Schmidt-Cunningham, who ends up with 4,843 votes, 58% of the overall. Dr. Corianne Fluker with 3,451 votes, 41% of the overall for Corianne. I know that was a race, George, you were watching inside of your party tonight.
Absolutely. And of course, the incumbent won.
Yes. as Trinette wins there. And, of course, South Union Township. We'll get to the school boards as well here in just a couple of minutes. We want to get to some of these local races as well in South Union Township.
I just had that up. So
I'm pulling it up right now,
okay.
Russ, and I'll
Patrick
pass it.
Mahoney with 848 votes for Township Supervisor on the Democratic side. On the Republican side, Jason Scott with 617 votes. Louis Augustini at 449 votes. Patrick Sroka at 36.
So you'll have Scott going up against Mahoney in the fall for the South Union Township Supervisor race, and also a competitive race for South Union Township Auditor. It goes to Paul Richardson with the win over Kim Arden Renzi. Richardson, 573 votes. Renzi with 395 for South Union Township Auditor. And also pass along some of these school director races as well tonight. And we'll start in Albert Gallatin. And again, you have 5 candidates for 4 spots. And the 4 moving on the Democratic side are Ryan Perupsky, Paul Dunham, Eric Miller, and Ryan Robinson. Doug Schultes does not advance on the ballot on the Democratic side. And on the Republican side, it'll be the same 4. Perupsky, Miller, Robinson, and Dunham. Dunham was the 4th highest vote getter at 743. Doug Schultes on the Republican side at 695.
So in the fall, those 4.
Those 4 will go. No changes there, assuming these numbers end up being official. Brownsville, again, you have a number of candidates, 7 going for 4 spots. We'll start first on the Democratic side. Ron Delarose with 666. Richard Gates with 559. Ron Gammon with 477. And Jamie Bogle with 470 are the top 4 vote getters on the Democratic side. Top 4 on the Republican side in Brownsville. Ron Delarose, 307. Ross Gammon, 255. Bogle with 253 and Gates 239, so the same 4 advancing there as well in Brownsville. Connellsville got mixed up a little bit because you have 5 candidates on the Democratic side, 7 on the Republican side. Top 4 on the Democratic side, David Martray, Dave Panzella, Michael Kochenauer, and Bob Renzi, all with a healthy win over James Moore. Top 4 on the Republican side, Bob Renzi, David Martray, who was not, check that, Martray was on the Democratic side, Michael Kochenauer, and Dave Panzella. So I believe they're guys, you have the same
4 and 4
again. Yep, same 4 and 4 again there. Let's see if that trend holds in Fraser. And on the Democratic side, top 4 vote getters there, Michael Tretnick, Michael Rendina, I believe that's Michelle Andrakovich, and the 4th top vote getter there would be Thomas Shetterly. On the Republican side in Fraser, top vote getter Michelle Andrakovich with 342, Rendina 327, Tretnick 245, and Shetterly 191. And there it looks like the same situation, with the top 4 being the same on both the Republican and the Democratic side. And Laurel Highlands, I think that's going to be the same way as well. Landman, Novak, George, and Cunningham, top 4 on the Democratic side. On the Republican side, the same 4. George was the top vote getter, though. Matt George on the Republican side, followed by Tom Landman, Debbie Cunningham, and Miranda Novak. The vote difference there, I know this was a highly watched race locally between 4th and 5th. On the Republican side, Novak with 1091, Barron 884. On the Republican side, again, this is between 4th and 5th, Novak 863, Barron 646. So you'll have the same 4 on the ballot in the fall in Laurel Highlands. Also in Uniontown.
So if there's a difference.
Yeah, I think they're going to have a difference here. So on the Democratic side, top vote getter was Stacy Bryant, followed by William Rittenhouse, and then Mary Sykes and Don Regula. Let me double check this here again real quick. These are not in order, so we want to make sure we're right. I missed Chris Gearing, so let me do this again here. So you have Stacy Bryan, 813, William Rittenhouse, 807, Chris Gearing, 707, and Mary Sykes, 698. So Regula, as of now, an 8-vote difference out on the Democratic side. But on the Republican side, top vote getter Gearing, 1140. Second, Bryan at 744, Rittenhouse 737, and Regula at 700. So Regula will be on the Republican ballot.
Yeah, he'll be on the ballot.
On the ballot on the Republican side of the fall, correct. So those are all the local school board races.
Going to the statewide races here. Excuse me, for Judges Superior Court. On the Democratic side, Brandon Newman unopposed on the ticket statewide, so he moves forward. For Judges Superior Court Republican, Maria Batista with 5,355 votes, or almost 70%. Anne Marie Wheatcraft at 2,274, about 30% of the vote. Judge of Commonwealth Court on the Democratic ticket, Stella Tessay, unopposed, with 7,018 votes. Judge of Commonwealth Court Matt Wolford beats Josh Price, 5,180 votes to 2,273. And let me switch on over to the other page here to let you know that it looks like those victors are going stateside across the state as well.
What they did in the Fayette County.
Yeah, Maria Batista is beating Anne Marie Wheatcraft by 181,986 to 152,757, and Matt Wolford 204,713 to 127,513 to Josh Prince.
And O'Connor winning the mayor race in Pittsburgh tonight as well.
Yes, yeah. So, that was one of the races I was kind of looking at to see if it give a idea of how the governor's race is going to go next year. The other one, the incumbent district attorney Larry Krasner in Philadelphia won handily out there.
Nick, any other races you've been watching tonight?
Let's see, pretty much everything that I was looking at. Russ just went through the statewide races, and you're right, O'Connor winning the Pittsburgh Democratic race. Let's see here if I can point.
Look up the Republican in Allegheny County for the mayor's race.
I would be shocked, though,
if Tony Moreno with 2,664 votes, or 70% of the Republican vote.
I would be shocked, though, if you get much Republican challenge in the city of Pittsburgh.
Oh, I know, because I know there was two Republicans running for the mayor's race.
Right.
But again, from Fayette County locally, the final report just coming in, and again, it does show the precincts are fully reported, guys. Just in full transparency, it says precincts fully reported, 77 of 77.
Other than the
provisional ballots.
And they have to be counted.
This is everything. It's unofficial. Does not include provisional ballots. The results may change until final certification, but this is showing that everything.
Brian, does it say the percentage? Because I said it was going to be close to 30, but I guess I'm not even close.
Good question.
Yes, we're going to see what the percentage is.
Well.
It'd be embarrassing if it's around 20%.
A couple of folks have commented around 20% on our Facebook page. Now, whether that's not official, but that's what a couple of folks have commented in there. We've not got the official numbers yet.
Yeah, right now.
And that's even lower because
I have the number. Total of. We're going to round these off. 30.